Construction Networks.
Disruption Network. What's up, everybody? How you doing? I hope you're enjoying. Today's Wednesday, right? Yeah, it is Wednesday. I don't even know, right?
Yeah, it's
hump
Wednesday.
day. It is hump day. I hope you're enjoying your hump day. I hope you guys are doing a lot of humping out there. Shout out to my sponsors, EJA Moving Services, the professional movers. When you're ready to move and relocate, hit up Eddie and his awesome staff at 315-335-0516. Great service. They pack up your boxes. They give you the boxes for free, and then they bring those boxes wherever they need to go. They're an awesome, awesome moving company. So use them if you're ready to move your gym equipment, your studio, your mom, whatever. If you're moving yourself to another state, they will move you to another state. They'll move you to another freaking country. That's how awesome they are. Tell them Uncle Z sent you. Hit them up, ejamoving.com. Also, big shout out to my boy Matt Grabsky over at Joey's at 307. If you guys want an amazing meal this week, stop over there. Go check them out. They're doing some delicious seafood meals. They're doing a revolving dinner menu. They even offering catering. Give them a call today. Set up reservations because they're busy. They are very, very busy. 315-864-3527 is the number. You can set up reservations with them. Also drinking Utica coffee today. We're drinking Blueberry Wake the Hell Up, and it's absolutely delicious. Oh, I love it. And let me tell you, the Wake the Hell Up absolutely fires me up. They've got different brands and different blends of the Wake the Hell Up, but this blueberry jacks me up. I turn into cornholio. WakeTheHellUp.com. You can check them out online. Shout out to my attorney, Dave Longaretta. Give him a call today if you need legal advice, 315-735-6162. And also big ups to my friends over at the Saranac Brewery. Let me tell you, get into those seltzers, the green tea seltzers. They're delicious. They got blueberry, pineapple, watermelon. Absolutely delicious. I've been drinking them every day, I feel like. Well, not every day, but like every weekend. Michael Phoenix Hart back in the mix with me today, brother. It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to be back, man. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. Thanks for hanging with me today. I always enjoy our conversations.
I love coming over here.
And I got to tell you, man, it seems like the way the universe is working out that you've come in at the right time. Because right now I am so tapped in to the universe and the way it's been with me lately. I've been dreaming, and dreams have been coming true. I've been seeing things. I've been connecting with people in my subconscious.
Nice.
I've been thinking about people, and I see them the next day, or talking about somebody, and they'll text me instantly, and it's not forced. It just happens. It's just I'm really, really tapped in.
Yeah.
And so with you coming on today, maybe we could get to some of these answers for me. And so let's tell everybody your background a little bit. So you are a shaman as well as a medium.
Yeah. So I was born a medium. That's usually something you're born with. You can't really. You can learn some medium skills, but you're born a medium. That's just the thing you're born with. Mm-hmm. And it's 3 generations that I know of in my family that I can trace of mediumship in my family.
Wow.
And as being a shaman, I think it was probably 12, 13 years ago, I met my first shamanic teacher, and she came from the Andes, and she left South America. As an expat, she had to leave the country. There was some stuff going on. She changed her name, all this stuff. But I had some premonitions, and I actually had a dream of this woman. And I was teaching some classes in Syracuse out at the old Seven Rays. And that night, I forgot what day it was or what year or whatever it was. But I went to close the door to lock up for our meditation night, and there was a South American woman standing there. I said, "Hey, can I help you?" And she turned around and looked at me, and she goes, "Hello, Michael." And I was like, holy shit, like, I saw you last night in my dream, and we had this conversation. And then from there, I trained with her for, 2 or 3 years, learning her ways. She was passing on some knowledge to me. And then in a similar fashion, I met another man by the name Jadwa Ugregori, and years later I traveled to South America, down to Costa Rica, and I trained with him, and I've been training with him for the last 10 years. And I've been training with some Siberian shamans as well. And so I have been engaged in this shamanic training for the last 12 years of my life. And all the shamans I've met are mediums.
Are they?
Yeah,
They
because
kind of intertwine with each other?
yeah, I mean, they're communicating with the spirits.
Gotcha.
So there has to be that mediumship quality there. And I want to just say that when I say that I'm a shaman, I am not culturally appropriating Native Americanism. A lot of people hear shamanism and they think Native American. That's not the case. Shamanism exists in Tibet, Mongolia.
I think Tibet.
Right. It exists in Siberia, South America, and the Americas. So when you hear the word shaman, most people tend towards Native American, and that's not true at all. And shamanism doesn't belong to any peoples, and it doesn't belong to any religion, because it's not a religion. Shamanism is a way of life. It's a way of living. And anyone that is a shaman lives that lifestyle. It's part of who they are. You can't just be a shaman on the weekend.
Right.
You're a shaman 24/7.
They don't give you like a certificate or anything, right?
Yeah, well, when I was training, any of the shamans I've trained with, they would take like a group of people off into the mountains or whatever and train them. And, you'd have one person go, "Are we getting a certificate for this?" And they'd just laugh and be like, and they'd go, "I don't have a certificate for it." Like, you're not getting a certificate. They don't give out certificates.
Did you have a graduation party?
There's no, well, I mean, I guess we did. I mean, when I was in Costa Rica training with Jade, we had a nice chocolate stout beer and some popcorn, and that was kind of like our graduation. And yeah, so I guess there are some celebrations, but no, there's no certificates.
No certificates at all.
No certificates for being a shaman.
Yeah, so how do you go through the process? Is there like a psychological examination? Is there like what's the process of becoming one?
So you have to die. That's it. It's pretty much it. You have to
Kill your old self?
No, you literally have to die. Like, you have to have experienced death, like had died in this world. And I died when I was 14 in a car accident. Passed over, had the, life review, all that stuff, got absorbed into the oneness of everything and received past lives information and all that, and then was woken up abruptly in the back of an ambulance when somebody was setting my femur, because I broke my femur in a car accident. My whole family was in this car accident, and we got hit head on by a yellow Corvette at 70 miles an hour.
Oh, wow.
And so me and my father both died and passed over. And, then I was resuscitated. And, for years, it was just this thing that was in my mind. And then over the time, I started to read about near-death experiences, because it was seriously people call them near-death experiences, but they're death experiences. And so you have to actually die like that to be recognized by most of my teachers. You'd have to die like that to become a shaman. Whether it's dying from some circumstance, or in some shamanic cultures, you can be forced to kind of take the death. You can be forced to exit the body and have a near-death experience. But that's not something that they really do.
Okay. Do they ask you this? Like, have you died before?
No, I mean
when you're going through the...
Yeah, I mean, so you can train with any shaman, right? You can find any shaman and train with them. To be recognized and to be a shaman, you don't get to adopt that title. Your community that you serve and the people that you live around, they recognize you and they start calling you shaman.
Copy that.
Once that happens, then you can be like, okay, I'm the shaman for this community. It's not a thing that you can just go, I'm a shaman today, and then take some classes and courses and workshops and call yourself a shaman, which is kind of common. People do. And there's great schools online and stuff that you can learn a lot of amazing shamanic practices, but you don't get to label yourself a shaman. Somebody tells you that you're their shaman. Your community that you serve starts calling you their shaman. And when that happens, then, now you can hang your shingle because, you've been recognized. So
what's the day-to-day practices of a shaman?
every day communicating with the spirits, living in gratitude, maintenance. There's a lot of maintenance when you're a shaman. You have to always be considerate of the spirits of the land that you live on. You have to be considering your tools and everything else. Everything is, it's a path of power. You're working with the forces of the cosmos and of the soul. So you have to be mindful of these things all the time. My day-to-day is I wake up, I have coffee, I usually have a cigar or I have a small tobacco pipe, and I pray with tobacco. Tobacco is like a sacrament to a shaman.
And not like Marlboros or Newports.
No,
right.
That's absolutely nasty.
Right.
And I don't smoke. So when you see me with a cigar, you might think, oh, he's a smoker. I don't smoke. I don't inhale any tobacco. The tobacco goes in my mouth. I mix it with my prayers, and then I exhale it. And I give it to the spirits. I imbue it with the power that's necessary for me to communicate or for them to work or whatever I'm doing that day. So my day-to-day starts out with coffee and tobacco. Utica coffee most of the time.
There you go.
Big old cup of cannoli and a nice cigar in the morning, doing my tobacco prayers. And then I sit and most of the time I go through the process of entering a neutral state, which means me connecting to the earth, replenishing my body with the earth's energies, connecting to the sun, the solar masculine energies, replenishing myself with that, moving into a state of neutral being, a state of awareness, if you will. And consciousness and awareness are different in this context. So consciousness would be the waking, active, judging, discerning, thinking about the future by looking at the patterns of the past. And awareness being that neutral state of observing and not being active. Mm-hmm. And so I usually do this and I move into a state of pure awareness where I can just be. And it's interesting because if you've ever read any Buddhist text, you'll notice what I'm talking about, the state of pure awareness, is something that in Dzogchen they talk about quite a bit. It's kind of like some of the highest teachings of the Dzogchen is to recognize yourself as pure awareness. And this is you becoming yourself, your true self. Or, I guess you could say it's you becoming your Buddha nature. In the shamanic world, we don't talk about it like that. You just are. You are the true self. You are the natural self, that pure awareness.
It's hard for people to find their true awareness, huh?
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it's
most
day-to-day struggle.
Yeah, most people relate to just being this body. Mm-hmm. And right. This is why the shaman has to die, because the first realization you have when you die is that you're not the body. There is a form of consciousness that exists. You are aware of a world and engaging in something that's not the physical reality. And so this is why you have to die, is because once you have that realization through death, when you come back here, there's no doubt in your mind that you are not this body. You've had a full-on, real conscious experience of another universe and still being you. You still exist. You have not lacked existence from the moment you died to the moment you come back. You're still always existing. And so this is the major trait of the shaman. He has already had this experience. He already knows this to be the truth. And everything from there becomes his process, his work. And so he knows the soul because he is the soul. He's not the body anymore. He's just the soul.
Us being humans are always adaptable to negative energy. How do you fight off negative energy?
I laugh.
Laughing yoga helps, right?
Oh, then there's a reason why that came about. Laughter. I mean, negativity. I mean, you have life negative and life positive. Mm-hmm. Nothing is really evil or pure good, but you have these states of being that you can experience. And really, it's just about shifting that awareness, because wherever you focus, all of your power, all of your energy, all your consciousness is going to go in that direction, and you will experience that which you are focused on. And we focus on stuff all day long by default. Focus about our stresses, focus about our problems that haven't even existed in the future yet that we think we're going to face. We're focusing on the past that we should have let go of like 3 days ago. And because of that, like, you're always existing in this tumultuousness. And that's why, you know, the daily process of becoming pure awareness, you're completely disconnected from all those things.
And not overthinking.
Not overthinking.
Staying present.
You just are.
Uh-huh.
See, and that's an interesting thing that we have to, if you want to spiritually really get in deep, you have to look at the fact that A, you exist, and you have to start contemplating, what does existence mean? Mm-hmm. And B, you have to contemplate being what awareness is, and being in complete awareness and being existing at the same time. And this is what probably all the great spiritual teachers are teaching. It's, you are an incorporeal being of pure awareness that has always existed. And if you can just shut the hell up for a minute, you can just sink into that, leave the body, and just experience that incorporeal you. And when you do experience that, and you come back, you'll feel constricted in this body because you're so much bigger. As John Mayer says, I'm bigger than my body. I love that line because it's true. You're so much bigger than this physical existence. And so negativity really is just the state of being you are existing in by focusing on that thing. So laughter is an easy way to just pull yourself out of the slough and just be back in that true heart-centered awareness again. So laughter is always good. But, you know, we do ourselves a disservice most of the time. We put ourselves in these bad places.
True.
We go to the environments we know we're not good at.
Right.
We do the things that we know aren't good for us. And, you know, some of us, as we get older, we get wiser and realize, I can't do that. If I go to that place, I'm going to do the bad things I don't want to do. And so this is self-awareness. And every human being, if you can just be mindful of what's good for you, what's not good for you, you can move into a place where you stop experiencing those things. It's the old maxim of the Oracle of Delphi was always know thyself. And the first thing you have to come to realization is who are you? What are you doing? You have to observe yourself. You have to look and see, what am I doing that's causing all the suffering for me? I have the power to move out of this suffering if I just stop doing that and focus on what I actually want to experience.
Throughout this Corona coaster, I'm sure you were pretty busy with readings and whatnot. Were people coming to you for advice? Yeah? At first... How was your Corona?
Yeah, right. At first, it was just like crickets.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, man, there's going to be... If there's a lull like that, there's going to be a huge, like, tsunami afterwards. And, yeah, so I've been busy since. Sure. Yeah. So a lot of people... You know, a lot of people are waking up, making new choices. They've had time to think. They've had time alone. They've had time to reflect. They've had time to look within and soul search, which we live in a time and an era where that's just not possible, even if we want it. I mean, I've held meditation seminars for, you know, the last 10, 12 years in different places all over the country, and you see people, they come to meditate, like, it's just so hard to meditate. And it's like, it's not hard to meditate. It's hard for you to shut off your mind.
That's me.
Because you're so used to just going. And here's the thing. The truth is that you think motion is life. And that if you're not moving, you're not living. And the thing is that you have existed since time itself existed. And when you die, you'll keep existing, and you'll be conscious of that existence. Right now, you've just forgotten. There's a veil when you pass through from life to death, and you just kind of wipes the mind clean. And only people who have really attained a form of self-realization, they realize that I'm not this, I am the soul, and they are established in that identity, not this identity. They're established in that identity as the soul, as the self-existing, self-arising, always existing incorporeal self. when you're established there and you take rebirth, you will actually keep your memories. And this is how, a lot of people in the Buddhist continents and Tibet and the Hindu lore, they recognize people who have been reborn. They literally give them like their old clothes or their bowl, and they go, hey, this used to be my bowl, when they're like 8-year-old kids. And, serious, there's actually a government program that does a whole thing where they research these kind of rebirths in America of these children who remember their past lives. And I think they've been doing it since 1940. And there is so much information in America to show that people have had past lives, and it has nothing to do with religion. It has everything to do with the continuity of the soul and consciousness, or pure awareness as the soul. And there's so much proof that this exists. And that's because these people have such a connection to their last life, and they've achieved some sort of awareness of being established as a soul, that they actually remember their past life. They come back with those experiences and those moments.
Wow.
Yeah. So when you're established in that, you don't lose your memory when you come through the veil into existence again.
Right on. I want to talk about you communicating with the spirits. And so when you're communicating with the other side, is it mentally draining for you after you're done?
It's a little bit of all three: mentally, physically, and emotionally draining.
Yeah. Is it something like after you're done, you have to go to bed and just tuck it in for a little while and recharge?
When I was younger, that would be the thing. I would sleep a lot.
Yeah.
My parents and my doctor thought I had mono like 10 or 15 times throughout my life, but I didn't. It was literally, I was just wiped out from, this communication. But these days, I've trained in some Taoist practices, internal alchemy, martial arts, internal alchemy, like Qigong and Tai Chi Quan and stuff like that. And that helps. I do those practices to replenish. But the shamanic work itself is built on power, right? And so the ways I've been trained in the shamanic world is I can actually take more power than I need to actually do the work I need to do. So it taxes that field of power and not my full reserves of power. So I can gain more power to do that work these days that I didn't have when I was younger. But it is taxing. Even when I do all those practices, and I do some readings for some people, if it's a really bad reading, like sometimes a suicide or a murder or something like that, then that stuff emotionally taps me too, because I'm sitting in a place of apathy for that person. I'm like, wow, that's...
You got to play psychiatrist too.
Yeah. So, I walk away from those things, and, I go from the studio where I work and into the house, and the wife's making dinner, and she's like, hey, how was it? And I was like, I'm going to need a couple minutes. And then I have to go in another room, quiet myself, pull myself out of... disconnect from those things, and then I can be back to normal. But yeah, that stuff is very taxing, and I'm in a place now where I have a great wife who supports all that stuff and understands these things. But that was tumultuous for most of my relationships. Most of the people I dated, they would be like, well, you're so disconnected, and like I kind of have to be at some point. So
because you're so connected.
Yeah, because you're so connected. Like you have to have those detached periods. Most of the time I'll do a week to 3 week retreats where I turn off everything, and I meditate for 2 or 3 weeks straight and don't do anything. Like nobody sees me. I go on a strict diet. I just lock myself in the house and meditate all the time. And that's stuff I need to do these days. You need to do that kind of stuff if you do this kind of work, for sure.
We have some people checking in on Facebook, and if you are watching on Facebook, if you could do us a favor and click the share button, help spread the word of what we're doing here on the D, and of course the practices of Michael Phoenix Hart. Gina wants to know, is his ability, can he turn it off, or does he receive messages even when he's not intentionally trying to communicate with the spirit? Can you shut it down?
No.
I feel like no medium I've ever talked to can shut it off.
Yeah, it's not that's not a thing. Like, you can't shut it off. And so, but my great grandmother, who was a Polish medium, she's the one who kind of like trained me from the spirit world in this as I was younger. And she said to me one day, she's like, you can't turn it off, but you can ignore them. And so that's where it turns into like, nope, I'm closed today. I am not taking any spirits, and they'll just stand in the room and mill around until they disappear or come back later. No, you can't turn it off, but you can ignore it. And, I'll be like, you'll see me. I'm a normal guy. I play in a band. I do normal things.
Yeah, we've known each other for years.
Right. I
never even knew you were a medium.
Right. No, not many people do. It's not really an easy thing to spot. But
right.
When I'm out at go out to a bar to have a drink or with my wife or something, or meet some friends, somebody who just lost a loved one, like that loved one will be standing right next to him, and that spirit will turn and look at me and start walking at me, and I'll just mentally be like, nope. And they'll just stand there looking at me all night long. And you'll see me like doing some stuff like this, like looking out of the corner of my eyes and just staring for a minute, or staring at the ground. And somebody will be like, you all right? And I'm like, oh, no, yeah, I'm fine. And that's because this person is like adamant, and they're coming at me. And I got to do a couple things to make sure that they know there is a boundary there. And if they want to talk later when I'm home or I'm meditating, they can come follow me back there. You can't turn it off, but you can choose to ignore it and just be like, nope, I'm closed today.
Do you find spirits attach themselves to you? Like, even if you're not in that environment, like you're saying you were at a bar and they want to communicate with a loved one, do they jump in the car with you and like take off with you?
Yeah, they can't do that anymore.
No.
The stuff that I do inhibits any spirit from actually doing that.
Really?
So, yeah, no, they can't do that.
They can't attach themselves to you.
No, they can't attach themselves to me.
And how's that? Is it like some kind of practice that you're doing?
Yeah, number one, I live a pretty clean lifestyle, so I don't engage in things that give me a lower vibrational pattern, a lower frequency. So first of all, they would have to be of a high frequency to even be able to come into that, because the energy that I hold is very solar. It's very like... it's very solar. It's very powerful solar energy. It'd be like getting close to a sun. And so the spirits don't really want to be in that for too long if they got some unfinished business here, because that'll instantly, make them move right into the light and be absorbed into the afterworld. So most of them don't want to be around that for too long. Not to mention my practices. My home is a very magically consecrated place. If a spirit is there, we were talking before, I got a bunch of orbs and stuff on video that I put on YouTube. All of those spirits are high vibrational spirits, high frequency spirits. They're not just mundane spirits floating through. They're ones that have an exceptional high frequency, because my house is very magically protected so that no unwanted spirits can come in there. And you have to do that. There are some mediums who probably don't know those practices, who just have spirits come in and out. I used to have that happen all the time. I used to live in the city between 2 mortuaries and 4 churches, and by God, I had spirits in there every night, to the point my wife would just like start seeing spirits because they were there,
And is your wife tapped in?
My wife is tapped in.
Yeah.
She trains with a lot of my teachers now, so she's undergone a lot of the same training, because you just kind of have to. If you're married to me, like weird stuff's gonna start happening, and you're gonna have to quickly figure out what's going down, so you know how to deal with it.
When you were dating, is that something you have to get out of the way? Like, hey, listen,
right away.
This is right away.
Right
It's
away.
something you need to
Right away.
Whether you accept it or not, this is how I am, and that's cool that your wife actually accepted it and has gone the distance with you.
It's very cool, because she's had some really sketchy experiences.
I'm sure.
And when you don't think of yourself as being a person who can actually experience those things, it's kind of really paradigm breaking to experience those things. Mm-hmm. We had one night when we were living in Oneida that I was falling asleep, and I was astral projecting from my body to go do some stuff. And as I just looked at my wife real quick, and I saw this weird spirit in between me and her, and he was like curled up on her, and I took a good look at it, and it looked at me like, oh shit. And before I could banish it, it jumped off the bed and ran to the end of the bed where there was a big wall mirror, and it went right through the mirror. And the next morning, I told my wife, when we went and looked at the mirror, there was a handprint and the whole side face smushed onto it as if like a child put their handprint on it. And we looked at it, and I started laughing, and she was laughing. Then all of a sudden her laughter went to like it just like her face went white, realizing holy shit, there was something in this bed last night. So that's the that's the kind of stuff that she's experienced that's been like kind of had to shift the psychology of this stuff is really happening.
Like incubus, is that what they're referred to as? Like
This one actually was it was a nature spirit. It wasn't an incubus or succubus.
Succubus.
This one actually looked exactly like Dobby from Harry Potter.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was a little hobgoblin creature, and it was like in love with my wife and like really liked her and all her energy, and so it was hanging around.
Crazy. I have a couple questions out there. Vicky wants to know, she went to talk to Sylvia Brown before, and everything she said was wrong, so she don't believe she's real. What's your opinion? There's a lot of scam artists out there that are in this industry.
That's very true. There's a lot of scam artists, and then there's people who have abilities, but they don't know exactly what's happening to them or how to control those things. They have no training in that. They've read books and they have some kind of ability, and so it's haphazardly. Sylvia Brown, I remember growing up and seeing her on TV and stuff. Sylvia Brown, I don't talk bad about other people. So what I will say about Sylvia Brown is that there was some controversy around her. She actually developed her own religion type thing and wrote books about that and stuff. So I can't really speak to anything about that. But I mean, there's genuine mediums out there. There's people who you can go and sit with those people. The problem is that some people go to mediums like myself and they just want to test me and see how good I am.
Yeah.
And like right away, you got a huge wall up, man. Like it's going to be very difficult. And then there's people who come to me and have they don't even know why they're there. They don't really want to be there. And then they're so open to the experience that it's like amazing for them. I've had people come to me that just saw John Edwards, and they were like, well, can you do that thing John Edwards does? And I was like, I'm a completely different person than John Edwards. We might have similar fashions and abilities, but I'm different. Number one, I don't charge $800 an hour. Number two, John Edwards is a freaking really cool guy, and he is the way he is for a reason. And when you go see him and then you try to go see another medium and try to get information about what John Edwards told you, you're going to get a lot of different stuff. You're not going to always get the same exact stuff. I do have people that come to me and don't tell me they've just seen 5 other mediums before me. Mm-hmm. And then I start reading them and they're like, oh, well, that matches what the other 5 said. And I'm like, holy shit, why are you here if you went to 5 mediums to get the same information? You're not listening to something.
Right.
And so, so Sylvia Brown, there's a lot of controversy around her. That's all I really want to say about that.
Do you do group readings or private readings, or you do both?
Normally, these days, I really only do private readings. Okay. Or, you can...
One-on-one?
One-on-one or, a couple people at the same time. But I don't do the gallery stuff anymore. That's really taxing.
Is it?
Very taxing. And you can ask any medium that does gallery work. It's really taxing. So, I mean, if people want to come in a group, I usually do, like, small groups and private. Yeah.
Right on. And how can they get in touch with you if they're interested?
They can just go to michaelphoenixart.net. My website's up there. It's got videos and information on me and, background and all kinds of stuff, services, other things that I do. The shamanic work I do, a bunch of that's on there too. So.
Are you busy? You got a lot?
Pretty busy, yeah.
Schedule full?
Yeah, I mean, usually you got to book a month ahead of time for me.
Oh, great, man.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
So are you picking up anything in here?
Actually, every time I look at you, like, I'm just seeing, like, the top of your head is, like, glowing at this point. Yeah, like so it was interesting when you started to talk about being tapped in, because as I'm watching you, as we were talking earlier, I could just see like the fact that you are open, that like you're receiving a lot of that frequency now. So
More so than before you were here?
yeah, last time, yeah, way different.
Because
way
I remember
different.
after we were done, you were like, "Hey, man, I got to tell you, you've got this thing going on over here, kind of just sitting in the corner over here." And then you just pretty much explained my grandmother.
Yeah.
Is what the last time you were in here, and I'm like, "Yeah, she's always with me.
Yeah.
I mean, I live in her house,
Which was interesting to hear
All right.
after that. Yeah.
Right. And are you picking up on Ange today, or
Not really.
No?
Not really. I mean, yeah, not really today.
No.
Nothing.
But I'm
nothing.
glowing.
You're glowing.
I
yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's a good sign too. When I
It's not just the light.
No, I mean I've literally met people in my life who they've walked by me, and then I took one look at them, and their whole aura just went wow in front of my eyes, and I was like, "Whoop, gonna go talk to that person right now."
Yeah.
And so.
And when you do talk to that person, like, what are you talking to them about?
I just, I try to start a casual conversation, and then steer that conversation towards something spiritual and see what kind of comes out of them, and then I just start, hinting on what's going on. I don't often approach people and tell them, "Hey, your grandmother's over here saying something."
Right.
My standards and ethical practice is, don't pry. I don't purposely try to look at people, their auras and other things, and speak to their spirits without permission. In fact, when I do my readings, I always ask for your full name. So when you say your full name to me, that's actually a permission slip for me to actually look at you, to look at your life, your past life, remote view you. Everything about that I can do now after I've gotten that permission. I don't do any work without that permission. And if somebody asks me, "Can you look at so-and-so?" I'm like, absolutely not. Like, unless they call me and give me written permission or something, I can't actually, I won't. I mean, I could, but I won't actually look at people or read them without their permission.
Right on.
Yeah.
Let's see. I thought that was the glare off of Z's head. Do your loved ones go to other family members? What do you mean by that, mother? That's my mom, by the way.
Do my family members go to other?
Yeah. So do your family members come to you for advice? And because you said you're what, third generation medium here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys like have a conversation with one another? And
some of my family, they definitely 100% know what I do, and I've had conversations with them. Before my dad passed away years ago, my grandfather had passed away, and we were sitting in the living room, and there was a balloon that we brought back from the hospital that we had left there, and it was a helium balloon, and it was sitting in the living room, and we were all sitting there, pretty sad. Grandpa just passed away, and all of a sudden I felt that feeling that I feel. I get all tingly, my spine goes straight, kind of jerk a little bit, and then all of a sudden I close my eyes, I enter that state of awareness, and then I see my grandfather standing there in my mind's eye, and he doesn't have his cane anymore, and he's just kind of dancing a little bit, and I'm just like, okay. And so I opened my eyes, said to my dad, I said, "Dad, Grandpa's here." And my dad started crying, and he's like, "What's he doing?" And I said, he's doing like a foxtrot over here. And my dad started crying, and he said, "Your grandfather loved to dance." And when his knees gave out, like, he was really upset that he had to use a cane or a walker to get around, because he knew how to cut up a rug, and it was one of his favorite things to do. And right as I said that, the balloon that was in the room in front of all of us dipped way down towards the ground and just moved all the way over towards my dad, and then went straight up. And everyone's hair, like mine is right now, just stood right up on end. And we all just looked at each other. And then it turned into like, a Ouija board game. Like, "Grandpa, is that you?" And then the balloon would go up and down for yes. And so then we were just standing there. I mean, literally, he had just passed away, and we were communicating with him as a family. So some of my family members have experienced these kind of things. And, there's no doubt about that the family members come through. And my dad comes to me. It took a while after he passed for me to be able to connect. It's very hard. even as a medium, to connect to your past loved ones.
Yeah.
Because there's an emotional barrier that's really hard to break.
Is that something that would wake you up out of a sound sleep? Like if you bump into your father in your subconscious?
No, that doesn't wake me up. That's not the spirits that wake me up. Most spirits know to leave me alone, but sometimes they come, they touch mine or my wife's feet, and that will wake us up instantly. But my dad, when he comes through, I get this overwhelming sense of like love, like this deep sense of love. And for most people, when they feel that deep sense of love, it sends them right into that feeling of grief. Because you're feeling that person again, and you realize, oh, they're gone. I can never be with them again. And you go into grief. And my father told me, and he said, when people do that, we step back because we don't want to cause them grief.
Right.
So we'll step back. And people often tell me, why am I not feeling my loved one that passed away? Are you still grieving deeply? Yes. Well, then they're going to give you some space, because when you feel them, you will feel them. You'll feel all the love that they now are in the spirit world. And that's all they really want to emanate to you, is how much they still love you. And I tell people often in the shamanic sense that you can still carry on a relationship with those that have passed away. This is the whole point of the shamanic world. I'm in relationship with these spirits. I talk to them every day. I give them offerings. We hang out. We talk. They tell me things. I tell them things. So being a shaman is an active relationship with the spirits that no longer exist in physical form. And you yourself can be in that relationship still with your past loved ones. You can do things like leave out their favorite cigarettes and beer, and say, hey, Nana, this is for you, and then sit in a chair and have the chair sitting there and say, I'm here hanging out. Give me some signs, enjoy. There it is, that's for you. And then sit, quiet your mind, and wait and see what kind of things conspire, because they still want to have a relationship with you.
Of course.
Yeah, and so you're never not in relation. The problem is that most of us don't understand this connection still.
All right, there's a question out there. How do you recommend somebody coming to you for a reading or prepared? So you can just pretty much go to your website,
Yeah,
right?
you can just go right there and just book it. It goes right to the calendar and gives you the dates and times that are available for you to pick and book, yeah.
Okay, so you say you were born a medium. So say you know the ability to connect with the spirits, but you belong to a religious tradition that frowns upon using that ability. How do you suggest one goes about moving past that to tap into their abilities?
I mean, you're in a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
I mean, if your congregation doesn't accept that, then you're going to be in a real difficult space. Yeah. So I mean, you're either going to have to probably leave your congregation or divulge all of it and then take the lumps that may come from that. My great grandmother, she was Catholic, and they frowned upon what she did.
Oh yeah.
They literally gave sermons about that, and she still did that, and she did it with a rosary in her hand, praying for mercy for herself the whole time. So she would connect to the spirits for all the locals, and they'd come to her, and she'd pray for that rosary because of the stigmatism that's bad. But we live in a time now where that shouldn't be the case. It's just way too open. There's so many people can choose so many religions and so many ways of life. Really shouldn't be the case. There's too much proof. There's too much proof that these things are real, that they're happening all the time. I'm not part of a congregation, so I don't have that problem. But yeah, that's quite of a conundrum to deal with.
Yeah. I mean, as we were raised, especially in this area, everybody was raised kind of Catholic,
right.
And so, you were taught all the guilt.
Yeah,
that
the Catholic guilt.
religion puts on you, and every religion, I feel, puts that guilt on you.
Mm-hmm.
Practice the religion of love.
That's true.
And that you'll be much further in life instead of listening to what they tell you in the ceremonies, and then all of a sudden they pass around the basket and they want $100 from you. So it's all a scam. Sorry.
Religion.
Don't get me started on religion.
Religion was created to help people live good lives, and not do all the bad things. It's a set of tenets and things. I'm not a religious person. I'm not into religion.
Same.
I am. I do believe in God. I do. Right.
Right.
Not in the Catholic God sense, but I have my experiences, and that's all I can speak from. I can't speak from any of those religious places because that's not where I'm at personally. So, but that's tough. I mean, if this is the kind of life that you are being pulled into, then I feel like you should at least explore it.
You feel like everybody is tapped into the universe? Yeah.
There's no doubt.
And how do you wake up somebody from that? How do they get their awakening moment?
You can't wake people up.
Right, they got to do it on their own.
Yeah, and so for most people, I will probably say 90% of people experience some form of spiritual awakening through a trauma. And as a shaman, most of the work I do is helping you regain that power you've lost from that trauma. When we do soul retrieval is you've lost this vital core energy, which is your vital life force that keeps you physically existing. And through traumas, you lose some of that energy, whether that's a car accident, blacking out from drugs or alcohol, some form of physical trauma from a loved one or something like that. Those things cause a loss of that life force. And when that life force is lost, you can't resonate in perfect harmony, which means what you go through life just feeling like you're really not getting the full vivid color and experience of that. And so the shaman oftentimes is the person you seek to help you regain that, so that you can come back to a harmonic resonance and experience the fullness of life. That's predominantly what I do as a shamanic worker.
I love your words, brother. Do you do past life regressions?
I don't. A lot of people ask me that. I was trained in hypnotism. I did hypnosis for a while. I got certified as a hypnotist. I did that for a while. Unfortunately, with my abilities, when I put you in past life regression, I go there too. And I don't really like experiencing everybody's messy past lives. It kind of clings to me, and I've experienced too many lives myself. I don't really need to travel there, so I don't do that. I do know people who do that, so if anyone wants a reference, they can message me, and I will send you to some very, very good people that do that stuff still.
Give me a good story about your mind being totally blown from your work.
Well, when I was in Costa Rica working with my teacher, Jade, and you can find Jade Gregory, Jade Wa'u Gregory on Facebook. I highly recommend everyone check him out. I love Jade. I have adopted him as my elder, and I've personally told him that, and he just said, okay. I love Jade. He's like my grandfather. And so please check out Jade on Facebook. He offers lots of teachings and classes online, in person. He travels. He does lots of stuff. But when we were training with Jade, we were training and we were doing soul retrievals, learning how to do the soul retrievals. And I had retrieved the vital life force I lost from the car accident I was in. It was the biggest trauma of my life, and so I retrieved all that. And when I did, and I opened my eyes and they came out, like the world was vivid, like I had taken a whole bunch of LSD. And I was just looking, and the parrots were so colorful, the leaves were like breathing. I was like, whoa, holy shit. I took absolutely nothing but coffee this morning, and I walked through the whole day. It was 12 hours of that experience. And I remember I sat down with my coffee and I was looking at the beach, and I was just in that pure awareness. And then all of a sudden, one of the other people in the group tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, you want to go to dinner? And I was like, dinner? It's like 7:30 in the morning. They're like, it's 8 o'clock at night, bro. And I was like, holy shit.
Wow.
I've been sitting here in this pure awareness. Like, I have no recollection of time. I was just completely in pure awareness, eyes wide open. I can't imagine what anyone saw when they walked by me. I'm just like completely catatonic. So I was in this otherworldly state like all day long, finally waking up with one of my comrades tapping me on the shoulder and saying, hey, how about some dinner?
Since you mentioned the acronym, I gotta ask, man, what's an LSD trip like for you?
I mean, it was normal.
Yeah.
It was normal. It's the same as it was for everybody else.
Yeah, you sure?
I haven't done any of those things in a long time. But it's way, I guess it's different
It's got to be.
because I'm, cohorting with spirits.
Right.
I'm seeing spirits all over the place. Other than that, it's pretty normal. But I don't do it anymore.
What's normal to you, though?
Yeah, what's normal? It's normal to you, right?
Yeah. I mean, that whole thing. Same here. I haven't done it in years and years, but it does open up your brain.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that really have a moment of clarity when they take those things. In the shamanic sense, those medicines are used purposefully for different reasons. But it's not the way to be spiritual.
Right.
It's not the way to be spiritual. They have a purpose, and each plant, each medicine has a spirit. And if you are not in good relation with that spirit, you will have a very bad time. You will get sick. It'll do all kinds of bad things to you. Even cannabis, it has a spirit.
Yeah.
And people abuse the hell out of it. And I've seen people that I know personally abuse the hell out of cannabis and then get in a car accident. And then literally, Judy from the Jade Fox one day said to my friend when we were 18, she looked right at him. He had just rolled his dad's truck. And she looked right at him and said, "You got to stop abusing cannabis." And then, he didn't really listen, but, I had the same thought. Like, the reason he got in that accident was the way he was treating that plant medicine. And that plant medicine was like, I don't like that. And it made hardship for him. So there's spirits everywhere. The shamanic viewpoint is that everything has a spirit.
And moderation, right?
Moderation,
Yep.
respect. Right relationship is the nature of the shamanic lifestyle. You have to, and if you don't understand relationships personally as a human being, your relationships to spirits, the earth, plant medicines, you're not going to have a good relationship there. It's all about right relation. That's how I live. Everything is right relations. Friendships, you got to keep some kind of connection. Most people are like, oh, my friend, I haven't seen him in 30 years, but he's still my friend. He isn't. You haven't seen him in 30 years. You don't know what's going on with them. You don't have a consistent relationship. So keeping up with a relationship, you need to keep that maintenance. And this is why people start to see in their lives they have a small circle of friends. They don't have a large circle of friends. Their friends actually are close. They see them, they talk to them quite often, and that's because those are the people that you continue to engage with and keep relationships open. So you're in right relationship with those people.
Are most of the people that come to see you for readings, are they grieving? Is it the majority of it? No?
No.
It's a lot of different avenues?
Yeah, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
For those that think that being a medium is a superpower and it's all awesome, I deal with things like children dying.
That's going to be heavy.
All the worst stuff you can think about life, it comes to my desk, And then a lot of the good stuff, too. Some people come because life is going good and they want to see where it's going to go from there. I've advised, rich people on how to keep investing their money. I've had people come to me about divorce, everything you can think of. It's come across my desk. And so some of it is really heavy.
Put some money in my pocket, Michael.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go. I need some scratch.
There's some people who right now who have known me for years who came to me when they started their businesses and asked where they were going, and they now make pretty good money. And all I say to those people is, don't forget me, Because, it would probably be some bad karma being like, well, when you make $10,000, you have to give me 40% of that. That would be real bad karma. So I always just say, don't forget me when you're living in Maui on a boat somewhere. Call me up and invite me down.
I'm flying you over, brother.
That's all I ask, Yeah.
This is awesome. I really love enjoying when we have these conversations. We have always had great conversations. And like I said earlier, too, I didn't even know you were Medium. To me, you were the guy that used to play in Soggy Monsters.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and then one day you came to me and you're like, hey, I'd really like to talk about, what I do.
Yeah.
And you came on and you blew me away that day. And like, here we are again. And
there's still a lot of people who have known me for years that don't know I do this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's not something that I really advertise to everybody, but I've had people's wives come to me for readings, and then they go get their husbands and bring their husbands in, and the husbands look at me like, I know that guy. He's not a medium. I went to high school with that guy. And then they sit down with me, and then I tell them something that
and you make them cry.
Yeah, and they're just like, holy crap, like, so that's the thing. You don't know. I'm a regular guy. I always my catchphrase used to be, when people ask me what I do, I would say that I'm a normal guy with a paranormal life. It's pretty much sums it up, because you're going to see me. I like to go to a backyard barbecue, have a beer, and smoke a cigar like any other guy. But then at the same time, if you live in an area where there's been a lot of death, I might leave your party early. I might not stick around because there's a lot of heavy stuff going on there. A lot of the house banishing and stuff that I do is usually in colonial areas where there's been a lot of people who have died during colonial battles, Native Americans dying and stuff like that, and those houses are haunted.
Yeah.
And, and that's all over Central New York.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's very deeply rooted.
Yeah.
And with all the Revolutionary War stuff that went on around here.
Lots of stuff around here, yeah.
I'm sure you pick up on a lot of that.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you go on, quote unquote, ghost hunts?
I used to do that stuff. I don't anymore, because my clairsentience is like seriously sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
At the last ghost hunt I did, we went to the Fort Herkimer house where the graveyard is and stuff.
Wow.
And I was walking around the building with the team, and I thought somebody had ripped my kidneys out of my body. I fell to the ground. I thought I was dying.
Oh, wow.
And they had to drag me away from the building, and the farther away I got, the better I felt.
Wow.
And I was just like, what the hell? I just didn't go there. And later, somebody approached me a couple weeks later and said, because I was like, did somebody die right here from like internal injuries or something? And like the historian guy was like, no. And I was like, dude, I don't know what's going on then. And like a week later, they came to me and they said, the last caretaker of this place was fixing the roof and fell down exactly in the spot where you were standing, and he died from internal injuries. And so like I stepped on that place and instantly, wow. And they said the last 3 caretakers there fell from the roof and died that way. And I was just like, never going back. And there's a picture, somebody has it somewhere. I was asking my friend Tony Joy. There's a picture of me. Somebody was like, what are you looking at? And I'm looking up in this tree, and there's this big spirit sitting in the tree. And I pointed to the tree, and somebody took a picture. And in that picture, there has to be over 30,000 orbs around me and in that tree.
Whoa.
There were so many spirits. A lot of them were Native American spirits that were pissed off, and a lot of them were colonial spirits that were buried there as well. So I wish I still had that picture. It's the craziest. The orbs are different colors too. There's red ones and blue ones and white ones. You can see faces in them. It's the craziest orb picture I've ever seen. So I'm trying to dig that back out so I can post it for people to see.
Do you do home visits? Or do you want people more to come to your studio?
Yeah. My studio is set up in a way that I don't have to come to your home and experience all your vibrations there. So like when you come to my house, that all has to be dropped. And so my studio is nice and clean and purified that way. I do home visits on occasions, like for home banishings or blessings, or sometimes if, other things that I do, I might do those, but it costs a little bit more for me to come to you than it does for you to come to me.
There's a travel expense.
Yeah, there's got to be.
There's always a travel expense.
Yeah,
Is that something maybe you do, like not like an exorcism, but like a home cleaning or?
Yeah, I do that quite often. Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, I do land banishings and consecrations too.
What's the process in that? situation?
Well, first I got to go there and see what's going on, and walk through the home, check it out, see who's living, what spirits are living with the family, because everyone has spirits living with them. See what spirits are living there, see if they need to be pacified in some way, if they want to get something out, if they feel guilty, if they need to connect. We do all that stuff, and then I go see what spirits are living on the land. There was one woman who they lived there for years, and it looked like they just moved in because the ground looked like a recent development. She's like, it's been like that for 10 years. No grass will grow. And I'm like, oh, that's a bad sign. So I went through the house, and then I went and talked to the spirits. And when I started talking to the spirits, they took me back in time where some colonial soldiers were traveling through the area and stumbled upon a sweat lodge going on with some of the native inhabitants. And they kind of like ran into each other and were like, oh shit, and it just turned into like a bloodbath where multiple people died.
Whoa.
So I did a lot of ritual and ceremony to appease the spirits, and I told the homeowner that she needed to do X, Y, and Z, and I taught her how to give the offerings to keep the land good. And when she did, all the grass grew back within a month. Not just that, but hops grew there, and hops was indigenous to New York. The natives used to grow a lot of that and trade with it. And so a lot of hops grew. She had a fox and a turkey that she took a picture of that were like sleeping next to each other in the broad daylight. She had eagles landing on her house. So like the ceremony obviously was a success. And
That's amazing.
And I said, anything you do here, you have to give this offering. If you're going to build a structure, you got to do this. Her husband decided to build a huge barn and didn't do this because he didn't believe in it. He was like, whatever, it's all hokey. And she came to me like a week after he put up this new barn, and she said, he just bought a brand new truck and we can't find the car keys. Can you locate them? I'm like, normally I don't do this thing, but I know you've been a client for a while. I'm going to help you out here. So I started talking to the spirits, and one of the spirits came to me and said, this jerk put up a barn even after you said give their offerings, and we're pissed. We want our offerings. They did exactly what we told you not to do. And so he told me where the keys were, and I said, the keys are in a bag of bird seed inside the barn that you just built. And she's like, we looked everywhere in all the open bird seed. I'm like, it's in the top one, and it's not open. And they didn't believe me. They went back. They got this big bag of bird seed. They cut it open. When they poured it out, the keys came out of it. And after that, he was like, okay.
They tear down the barn?
No, they started giving offerings, and he started having lots of spiritual experiences there. Saw green lights glowing in the evening, spirits coming directly out of the ground and stuff like that. So
amazing.
So give your offerings. Don't. Right relationship is a real deal. Like wherever you live, you have spirits in your area. You have spirits in your house. You have spirits of the land. You have your ancestors. Ancestry is so important. And us Anglo-Saxon people who are predominantly white, we feel we don't have an ancestry, or it's not valuable, but it is. Because you can't experience anything that you are having right now. If you have a good life, like you and I do, we're so blessed.
Absolutely.
But
I say it every day.
Our ancestors slaved and sacrificed for us to even have the field of opportunity to experience this joy. And so I don't have to buy a house. My dad did, and I just bought the house my dad bought. I bought it off my parents.
You're just giving me the chills right now.
And so I wake up every day, and when I look at my land, I look at my house, I look at all the wealth that I have, and I'm not wealthy, but it's all wealth to me.
Right.
I have land that I can run around on, and I look at it, and I give my tobacco offerings, and I thank all my ancestors for whatever hardships they went through, whatever they slaved for, whatever they sacrificed for, whatever they gave, whether it was service for their country or they just worked their ass off 90 hours a week. Thank you, because without you, I wouldn't be actually experiencing this life this way. So I always give thanks in that way. Ancestry is important.
Amazing. You just gave me chills when you said that.
Yeah.
You're dead.
Yeah, because you feel it.
Yeah. I do.
Yeah.
My family history, of course, and very thankful for my whole family,
right.
Whether I get along with them or not.
Right.
The present, currently, or even in the past.
Yeah.
I'm very thankful for where I am, and I say every day, Michael, I live a blessed life.
That's
and
right.
I got to do some of the coolest things. People would kill to do some of the things I got to do in my life.
Same.
And I'm very thankful.
Yep.
Very, very thankful. Something we talked about before we went on air is Zoom.
Yeah.
Do you do work over Zoom?
Yeah, I do readings and what work I can do as a shaman, shaman distantly.
Is that hard for you?
No.
No?
No, I mean, because all the work I do as a shaman is in the realm of the soul.
Okay.
Which is existing all the time. You're there and I'm there right now. So all I'm doing is I'm just entering that space and doing that work, coming back here and going, hey, I just did that work. And then describing to you what it is I saw, experienced, and what actually took place there. But I do that work in person too. But I do this work for people all over the world. And I do it through Zoom. So if you can't travel to me for whatever restrictions, I do readings via distance, and I do shamanic work via distance. So whether it's a healing, whether it's a reading, or rather it's some work on your personal soul or spiritual body, I can do all that distantly.
Gotcha. I think it would be a little difficult to do it over, say, your iPhone or...
Yeah, hopefully you have a good internet connection and a computer. But lots of people do it on their phone or their little iPad. All you really need is a secure connection and a quiet location, and I can do all that stuff.
Everything needs to be nice and quiet.
Yeah, I mean, we got to be relaxed.
Yeah.
You got to have the right participation. You can't be like swatting dogs and yelling at your kids when we're trying to engage in something.
Yeah, no distractions.
No distractions, yeah.
Do you have social media tags you want to plug too, if people can get in touch with you, or just pretty much your website?
Yeah, my website has it all, but I am on Facebook, Michael Phoenix Art, and I have a YouTube channel. There's some limited stuff on there that I talk about. There's actually a video up there of all the orbs and stuff that were captured in my studio. We have countless footage of orbs. I pieced some of it together, put a little bit of cool music to it so you could...
I need to see that.
Yeah, you can watch like 10 minutes of video of these different really cool celestial-looking orbs that are happening in the studio.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And I was very happy to hear you're playing music again.
Oh, of course.
Yes, good.
Yes. Yeah,
and are you writing? You covering? What are you guys doing?
We do both.
Do both.
We have a lot of original stuff, and that's what we're putting together on the album that we're working on now.
Plug the band.
Yep, Brothers Grimm Band. You can check us out on Facebook. We're having difficulties with our website, but we'll fix that pretty soon. But Brothers Grimm on Facebook, you can check us out. We're playing lots of personal parties this year, which is really interesting and also awesome. Let's bring that back. Let's have right relation by everyone who has a good house and some land. Throw a party once a year and invite your friends that play music and just let's get together. That's the best vibe ever, man.
It really is, man. It really is.
I love all the venues too. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
I love all the great venues, the breweries and stuff we play. Everything is great, but I love being with the people and that intimacy of this is our backyard. So I like that a lot too.
This past weekend I was at Ray Brothers and I went to go see Sophista-Funk, and I love the vibe that they got back there because it feels like you're in somebody's backyard.
Yeah.
They have beer and food, which is cool. But when you look past all that, look past the restaurant, you're in a big field.
You are
with a great little stage.
Nice stage.
Yeah, it's a great stage, and it's a great vibe, and people are super cool up there in the Balkville, Madison area, and it's just an awesome vibe. And I agree with you, man. I think we need to bring it back to that vibe, the backyard parties, the old Sterling stage vibes, man. How many great times do we have up there back in the day?
Oh my God, I miss that kind of life so much.
Yeah.
I mean, you essentially lived there for a week.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah.
People say, "What did you do in high school other than go to school?" I think I lived at Sterling Stage most of that.
I'm sure we hung out around the Sinatra Lounge a few times at Sterling Stage.
Yes.
But a lot of it I refer to as my blackout years.
Oh, yeah.
So there wasn't too much of me being tapped into the universe back then, other than the acronym that we used earlier.
Right.
LSD.
Right. The
Psilocybin, of course.
Yes.
But great times though. We did have a lot of good fun.
Yeah, man. I mean, we got to see some great people. Richie Havens. I mean, you talk about names.
Legend.
There was some people that played there that I mean, John Brown's Body.
Dickie Betts.
Oh my God. I mean, we saw people before they were as big as they are now.
Yeah.
Oh.
John Brown's Body. I miss that band so much. I wish they would do a reunion or get back together. And
they still play, but they don't have.
No, they don't.
Yeah,
they
don't.
kind of pretty much broke up.
Yeah, they broke up, but it's just not Kevin Kinsella with them. I mean, they still play, but it's not Kevin think it's sellout.
No, they broke with Elliot. They broke up. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're done. They've
I
been
did
done
not
for
know
a couple
that.
of years now.
So he's just doing like the Black Castle because
I don't know if he's doing Black Castle or not, and I wish he would because I love that album. Was great. But now what's happening? Tommy B, the drummer,
Yeah.
he's in this band called Dub Apocalypse. That
Oh,
you can
yes.
find them up, and then he plays also in a band called the B3 Kings. It's a little more organ-driven type of music. And then they're kind of all over the place. And I know Jason from the Analog Sons.
Yeah, I know Jason,
he
yeah.
kind of filled in for Kevin when Kevin left.
Yep.
And now he's doing. He just came out with a solo album just the other day.
yeah, the Analog Sons were dope.
Dope,
too.
bro. I used to have them at
Yeah.
the EC all the time. They used to kill it for us.
I tried out for that band.
Did you really?
Yeah, when I was living in Ithaca,
Yep.
I tried out. It's pretty nice time in my life. I tried out for the Analog Sons, and Jason was like, "Okay, cool, bro, let's do it." And I was like, "Okay, how much do we get paid?" And I got a house and stuff up here, and he's like, "Oh, that's not gonna work.
You
out."
ain't get paid.
He was just like, "We don't make any money, man."
If
Like,
you're in a band thinking you're going to get paid, you better find a new industry to get into.
yeah.
But John Brown's Body's still heavy on my playlist.
Oh yeah, me
Still
too.
huge.
Me too.
Huge.
Yep.
They're that band that puts me in that happy place.
Yes.
They come on and instantly I get taken back to a Scotty Palooza festival or a Sterling Stage Festival.
Yes.
And it just reminds me of these happy times,
Yep.
these happy moments. Even when I booked one of the first bands I ever booked in my life was John Brown's Body
Really?
at Captain Trips.
Oh
And I
yeah.
had him at the Electric Company and stuff.
Oh,
So
my God.
it was like they just put me in this great place.
Yeah.
I always say this, reggae makes you happy.
It does,
You know?
especially John Brown's Body.
Yeah.
I mean, I got all their albums, and I play them in the shower in the morning, like get my juice going.
Yeah.
And stuff. Yeah. I love John Brown's Body. And again, like it takes me back to Captain Trips and Scotty Palooza and Sterling Stage. Like all those memories are, they're there.
I was
Yeah.
just telling a friend of mine the other day, it was just a couple days ago over the weekend, that John Brown's Body at Scotty Palooza, I think it was 2002. I can't remember. It had rained. It was pouring it.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody just flocked to the tent where they were playing. And they had just released their album. I think it was not Among Us, Among Them, or Spirits All Around Us.
Yes.
It was the album. They released it that night. And everybody, imagine 5,000 people in this little tent
Yeah.
because they were avoiding the rain. And the energy was going on in there. It changed my life.
Yeah, it was nice.
That changed my life, that particular moment.
Yeah, it was like condensed, like pressure on a diamond in that place. And nobody was trying to go outside that tent.
No.
And we were all like, "You're cool? Okay, I'm cool.
Yeah.
Let's just dance."
Let's sweat on each other.
Yeah, right. You were so close. I miss, those are the things that I miss about music most of all, is those connections.
Yeah.
And those were spiritual moments.
Yeah.
I mean, we are now the kind of people that, like, when we go places, we talk to people at festivals and stuff. I mean, where nowadays people are very disconnected
Yep.
at music shows and stuff. Like,
You're right.
And I can spot someone like you or me. If we went out and saw Tedeschi Trucks last year, me and my wife, and I was smoking a cigar, and this guy walked by, and he looked at me, and I looked at him. He's like, "Hey man, can I hit that cigar?" I'm like, "Absolutely, bro." And he's like, "Damn, that's a tasty cigar." And like, it was just me and him, and there was probably like 100 people around, and I'm like, me and this guy on the same level. We've experienced the same kind of music. We're open to talking to people. And then you could see these other people looking at each other like, "Whoa, did those guys just like talk to each other randomly?"
Everybody's so guarded now.
Yeah, so guarded. And like, those are the days of real vulnerable spiritual connection in those music festival scenes. I mean, they were just organic and natural. I love every moment I had there was spiritual in my mind. So
in my eyes, those music festivals was my come up.
Right.
If not for those music festivals, I'm not booking shows at Captain Trips, which led me to the Electric Company, which actually led me to here pretty much.
Right. And now you're over at the
It's a Stanley.
At the Stanley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it not for those music festivals, and like you said, networking and talking and passing out flyers. Here, check this show out. Check this
All
band
the
out.
time, yeah.
And people traded tapes with one another.
Oh,
And,
man.
I mean, it was a thing. It was
Yeah.
like, it was such a great community.
Yep.
And I agree with you, man. We need to bring that back.
Yeah, I'm all about it, man.
Yep.
Let's create that renaissance again. It's so nice to have that genuine, authentic, organic connection with people,
Indeed, man.
And who doesn't miss that after the coronavirus,
Right. Jessica saying, love John Brown's body. Everybody does. Thank you, Jess, for checking in. And if you are watching us on Facebook, if you could just click the share button, it would help us immensely. You can check out Michael at michaelphoenixheart.net.
.net, yep.
.net if you're looking to book an appointment or anything. This has been it's always been a great conversation with you. We need to have you in often.
Yeah, it's like home. Feels like home here. Yeah.
Good, man. Good. I'm glad you feel at home here.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming in and chopping it up with me. And thank you to everybody out there for watching. And shout out to my sponsors. Can't forget the sponsors. Hang on. If not for the sponsors, this podcast isn't possible. So thank you to EJA Moving Services, Joey's at 307, Utica Coffee, my attorney Dave Longaretta, and Saranac Brewery. Thank you so much. Tomorrow we're doing the Hold the Sarcasm podcast, which will be out on Friday. And I'll put this podcast out probably sometime tomorrow. We'll put it out there in audio form so you can listen to it on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple, Google, Stitcher, pretty much wherever you get your podcasts. So.
And you guys are all over. I love it.
We are, man. We are. We're staying busy.
That's great.
Staying busy, producing some content, and just, trying to spread the word of many different things going on, and trying to base community relations as well. And
community is really important in my mind.
And me too.
We talk about music, or rather we're talking about spiritual community, or, local businesses, like community is where it's at. Let's bring that back too.
The D is also the C, standing for our community.
That's right. That's right.
Michael, Phoenix Heart, much love to you, brother. Thank you so much for coming in. You guys all have yourself a good day, and I'll see you soon. Later.